Welcome out on this marvelously cool and moist day. It is my pleasure. I'm Brian Campbell. I am the Ogden Medical Surgical Society Secretary, and it's my privilege this morning to recognize and welcome one of our longtime sponsors, originally known as Utah Medical Association Financial Services, now Physician Wealth Advisors, due to predatory behaviors from the attorneys, but that's another story. I have the honor to introduce Mark Woodruff, who will be representing them, and he will be speaking for about the next 15 minutes, and we'll go from there. Mark, you're on.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. Did you see how that just rolled off his tongue? Utah Medical Association Financial Services. Yes, we are now Physician Wealth Advisors. As he said, we were contacted by an attorney by a group out of the Midwest that had somehow got access to any email address or that ended with fs.org. So not an attorney, but we decided on our 30th anniversary we'd change our name to Physician Wealth Advisors, which kind of describes more what we do. We've actually been in business since 1993. When the Utah Medical Association hired an advisor to help its members. And we've grown from there. At noon, you're going to hear from Eric Halverson, and he has been with the firm, I think, about 12 years. And he's going to give some ideas and some case studies to show how we can help you. But this morning, I'm just kind of going to give you a taste. So speaking of taste, we're sponsoring the breakfast, and I see eggs and bacon and oatmeal, so how can we go wrong? So this is great. So again, my name is Mark Woodruff, and we need to make our compliance attorneys happy. So we have these disclosures. Just realize that investing money involves risk, as you know, as does surgery. So I'm here to just kind of whet your appetite and say, why should you use us to help with your finances? So I have a nephew. I was just telling Dr. Campbell, I have a nephew that's graduating from medical school at the U of U on Friday. On Saturday, he's getting married. On Monday, they're going on their honeymoon, a cruise to Alaska. They get back the following Tuesday. They'll then have 3 days to pack up, and on Saturday, they jump in their car and they drive to Madison, Wisconsin for 2 days. And I saw a fist bump from Madison, Wisconsin over here. This is great. And then I think on Tuesday is when he starts. So, no pressure. Probably sounds familiar to a lot of you. But, I was asking him what his plans are, and he's like, Mark, I've just been in the survival mode. So, this is probably how a lot of your plans go. Let's see, I've got my school loans. I got to buy a house because I've been promising someone they're going to have a house for about 10 years. And I got to get a car that's going to start and go in the morning and have tires that will work. And so, in the end, you're just hoping to get all these things done. And I know there's a lot of things to do, but we can help you. So, again, why should you help us? Some of you might notice this boxer. His name is Mike Tyson. He was big in the 80s and 90s. And he had a great phrase. He said, everyone has got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. I think you'll understand why here. So with other recent news, you see things that are going on right now. There's a bunch of things with tariffs. You see all these headlines. It's interesting. Some people are surprised at what's going on, but when President Trump was campaigning, he told us he was going to do these things. He wrote this book in 40 years ago called The Art of the Deal, where he kind of showed his hand and did these things, and this is what he's doing. But I think it kind of surprised some people anyway and surprised the markets. And we know that two things that the markets hate are uncertainty and surprises. And so, people will make a living trying to guess what the market's going to do, and then if it doesn't happen, then people get surprised. So kind of interesting how that all happens. But because of that, we've had some turmoil, as you've seen, and we're going to talk about that real quick. So some of you may have heard of John Templeton, Sir John Templeton. He was one of the first, he was England's version of Warren Buffett. And he said something interesting. He said, the four most dangerous words in investing are this time, it's different. And we're going to talk about that. So here you can see an example of the impact that had happened here just recently. So we saw that the stock market on Liberation Day, everyone remembers April 2nd, he called it Liberation Day. I heard a trader on Wall Street call it Liquidation Day after everything happened, when all the announcements went on. And you can see that over the course of just 4 trading days, the market dropped over 11%. That's a lot to drop in that short time frame. But it's interesting that as news came out and as things got more clear, that we had actually, within a month, returned to that level before Liberation Day. And then as of just a couple of days ago, we're actually up or even and positive for the year, which is kind of interesting after all these things happen. On this slide, it's interesting to see how tariffs have been in the past. So as you look back, clear back over a century, you can see back in about 1890, tariffs were about 30% here, and then you saw them go way down about 1915. They went back up again over World War I, World War II, and then went down again. And they've been pretty low until the announcement that happened, and everything at the time that they were announced was going up to about 22%. So you can see why the market was kind of a little surprised there. If we look at it's now being called the tariff crash. You know, everything has to have a title. It's now being called the tariff crash. But if you look at some of the recent crashes that we've had, so I've been in the industry since 1993, so I've seen a few things. .com and some of the others here, but you can see these. The .com bubble from peak to trough was down 49%. That was pretty crazy. And then the financial crisis in 2008 down, peak to trough, down 57%. Then you can see COVID was down 34%. If you remember, though, that was pretty crazy, just like this past one, because we were down 34% in 6 weeks. The quickest we had ever gone down that far. But interesting enough that over the next couple of months, we got back to even, and by the end of the year, if you remember, the market ended up positive about 16%. So we then had the inflation crisis. It was down 25%, and then you can see here, the Trump tariffs at one point from peak to trough was down 19%. Oh, I hit the back, sorry. So this is an interesting slide that shows the stock market over time, and down at the bottom are presidents, and red and blue for the different parties. But it's interesting to see something is always going on, that the market is getting punched in the mouth, whether it's World War II, or whether it's the Korean War, or the Cuban Missile Crisis, or SARS, or different things. And you can kind of see how these things have gone. And a lot like physicians, you rely on the past to treat for the future, and look at the past. And so just realize that these things that are going on are not new, and there's always something where someone's getting punched in the mouth, and if they have a plan at all, that plan goes out the window. So with these challenges in mind, this is what we suggest that you do as physicians. There's different areas that there's things that matter. Those are important things. There are things you can control, which, as you know, you can't control everything. And there's this magic space in between where those circles intersect. And those are the things that you should focus on no matter what's going on. And that's part of why we're here, to help you. So interesting that, we can never guarantee that you're not going to have a loss. We can never guarantee that you're going to make money. But just like if you're doing a surgery or treating a patient, you can never 100% guarantee that it's going to be a cure. And you're relying on past history and your experience and experience of others to get you through things. So one of the things we do is help you develop a plan first, so that when the market gets hit in the mouth, we have a plan B, and help you focus on the things that really matter. So these are the things that we focus on to help you succeed here. First, we start with a plan that incorporates your needs and your desires. Next, we construct a diversified portfolio that complements your plan. Just yesterday, I had one of our long-term clients come up that's been working with Patrick Brady, one of our advisors that's been with us nearly 30 years. And he said, hey, with everything going on, do I need to make any adjustments? And I said, if you do, then Patrick's not doing his job right, because I'm sure he knows you've been working with him a long time, and I'm sure your account is set up exactly as it needs to be for your situation. Next, this is always a fun one, controlling your expenses. Minimize taxes, that's an important one too. And as you know, the current tax rates are set to sunset at the end of this year. As you remember, back in the last Trump administration, the tax rates were lowered about 2% for each category. Those are set to expire at the end of this year. You know, the expectation is that's going to be renewed. Really, the big question is, for how long are they going to be renewed? And, you know, it'll probably be used as a tool to get some other things that they want, because, you know, that's the art of the deal. And then last, but definitely not least, is monitor over time. So if we are managing a portfolio for someone, we are making sure that we are in touch at least annually, that we're meeting with you either in person or by Zoom, and we're reviewing your plan. We are going over your goals, see what's changed, and changing that plan so that we're fine-tuning it every year. So, you know, with physicians, it's interesting. A lot of your money is in a retirement plan that we can't directly manage, but we can manage other parts of your account, but include that in your plan. And then over the years, we're refining that plan for you, and when it comes time to put that plan in action, most of our physicians will then transfer everything over to us so that we can monitor everything you have and get ready to implement that plan that we've been working on fine-tuning over your career. So we know you have you know, interesting challenges, just like my nephew. You have expenses, you have school loans. You're starting later than most other people as far as investing. You need to invest a little more than probably most people because of all the things that you've been doing. And one of the things that's interesting that may come up from time to time is physician burnout. People won't talk about this, but it is a reality that, you know, a lot of the time it's not uncommon that we're working with a physician, and when we start, okay, I'm going to retire at age 67. Okay, I'm going to retire at age 65. Okay, how's 62 looking? How about 60? You know, these sorts of things. And so physician burnout has some challenges. It leads to some you know, early retirement and those sorts of things. But there have been many studies showing physician burnout, and during COVID is when things really hit their max. At one point, there was over, one of the surveys said there was over 50% of physicians mentioned that they were under stress and felt burnout. The AMA did mention this. That was the first time in 4 years that it had been over 50%. And there's the tired resident, I guess, in the side room getting ready in between things. So this can turn into many problems. Making sure you're taking care of your patients. You need to take care of yourself before you can take care of your patients, of course. Some different errors and even malpractice, which is never good. A lot of turnover, as you see. It seems, I don't know, dentists must be hard on assistants, because it seems like every 6 months when I go into the dentist, there's a new assistant, there's a new hygienist, and I don't know, and I know that may happen in your area too. Leading up to even things as far as physician suicide. So we have found that, you know, these drivers of financial success you're familiar with. There's things going on with money, with family, with your office, with your employees, with your coworkers. And so we will help you get over that burnout. So we found that having this plan and having this annual checkup will reduce your financial stress. Of all these things, like my nephew, who is just overwhelmed right now. Feel sorry for him, but it's going to be fun to live vicariously with him through his journey here. So this is a great saying here. There are dreamers and there are planners. The planners make their dreams come true. So we're here to help you with this. It's interesting, as I said, we can't guarantee, but I'm pretty sure if we're helping you that you're going to be able to be successful and you're going to meet your dreams. We just work with physicians and their families. Between the 5 advisors that we have and our portfolio manager, we have over 155 years of experience. Myself, I've been in the industry since '93, so actually this month I hit 32 years in the industry, and it's been quite a ride. But it's been fun being able to help people to meet their goals. So our thought is if we're not helping cover that fee, which starts at 0.8% of money under management, goes down as we manage more. The first $250,000 is at 0.8. The next $750,000 is at 0.7. The next million is at 0.6, and it goes down from there all the way down to 0.4. So we find that our average client is paying somewhere around about 65 basis points or $6.50 for every 1,000 under management. And I'm pretty sure that if you're working with us, you're going to do better than other advisors. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to be more successful than you working with yourself. Because we've only worked with physicians. We understand their needs. I was talking to my nephew, and I kind of showed him a list that we have. If you come by our booth that's right here on the way to the bathroom, then we can give you that. But as I said, at lunch, you're going to hear from Eric Halverson. He's going to talk a little bit more about what we do and even provide some case studies for you. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Campbell and look forward to Eric. Enjoy your breakfast, and I'm going to go get some myself. Thank you very much.